Hi, I am samyogi. Welcome to the Krishnamurti podcast. Today is October 5th, 2025, and we are on episode 71 discussing the seventh talk at Oman, the Netherlands by Krishnamurti. Now, we discussed a concept yesterday. I'll just repeat that in Krishnamurti's words. There is immortality, but to realize it, one must start with the transient. Immortality lies in the transient. Not away from the transient. Now we are discarding the transient and trying to find the permanent. Whereas I say look to the transient and you will find the permanent. Because when you discover what the transient values of your action are, born of mind and heart, in that transiency there is the fullness of that which is lasting, is eternal. Inherently in the transient itself is the permanent. We look to immortality as a means of escape or as an end to be arrived at through successive series of experiences. To me, immortality is to be free of all sense of conflict, and you can only be free of the sense of conflict when you have understood right values. And to understand right values, you must know all the transiency about you. So I'll let you reflect on this, because this intuition or this concept is used in a different way in the answers that we shall discuss today. We'll discuss some new questions and answers, and if there is time, I'll come back to this concept and give some examples of what is this transiency and how it affects our current life. Question for Jiddu Krishnamurti. People who have had a glimpse of truth say that in such moments their I consciousness has disappeared. Why is it not possible for such people to remain in that state permanently? What is the cause of their return to I consciousness? Krishnamurti replies, the first part of this question, if I may say so, is wrongly put. The questioner says, people who have had a glimpse of truth say that in such moments their I consciousness has disappeared. It is only when you are free from that sense of self-consciousness that you will know the permanent, the eternal. You see, here the questioner implies a coming back from a reality which he has perceived to be self-consciousness. So there is a sense of impermanence and a sense of the permanent. Most of us cling all the time if we have caught a glimpse of reality to the permanent, and so we try to make the permanent through memory lasting. I say, forget the permanent. Don't even think about it, but be only aware of the impermanent. Okay, I'll take a pause here and just remind you to correlate what he just said here about permanence and impermanence with what I read at the beginning of this podcast, which is transient and the permanent, where we said, or Krishnamurti said, now we are discarding the transient and trying to find the permanent. Whereas I say, look to the transient and you will find the permanent, because when you discover what the transient values of your action are, born of mind and heart, in that transiency there is the fullness of that which is lasting, is eternal. Inherently in the transient itself is the permanent. And here, as an answer, he had said, there is a sense of impermanence and a sense of the permanent. Most of us cling all the time, if we have caught a glimpse of reality, to the permanent. And so we try to make the permanent through memory lasting. I say, forget the permanent. Don't even think about it, but be only aware of the impermanent. You know, if you have a pain, you take some kind of medicine, and for the moment you forget that pain, and that pain returns again. Likewise, we have an occasional glimpse of the permanent, but more often we are conscious of the impermanent, of the transient, of the conflict, and the mind naturally clings in the hope to make the permanent lasting to that glimpse. If the mind clings to the permanent, it cannot but be a drug, because it is trying to escape from the impermanent, from the conflict, from the transient. So that which it clings to cannot be true, because then that permanent is but an escape, therefore it is not true. Whereas, if you understand the cause of conflict, if you understand the significance of your action, then in that there is permanency, and in that there is not this coming back and forth from the real to the false. So do not look to the permanent, but rather understand the transient, understand the cause of conflict, which prevents you from understanding the permanent. So the answer ends, and let's reflect a little bit. He is, and you may not agree, but I think he is right when he says all escapes are basically lies. If you escape, then that is not life, and life differs from here to there, from India to America. In India, it's all about escapes. I mean, I remember growing up and going to movies. Those 3 hours you have escaped. As a child or as a youth who doesn't understand, it may be fine. But once you understand, escape like that is a waste of time. Those 3 hours are gone and will never return. And escapes are different in America, but they are nonetheless European vacations. America is a great country. It's not like India. The streets are clean, the roads have sidewalks, the weather is temperate, but the people are still unhappy. They still want a vacation, they're lonely, they want a partner, or what have you. I am not going to get into life here or life there. I just say that if you understand escapes and then you do not escape, I am not saying, or Krishnamurti is not saying, do not go on a vacation or do not go for a movie. He is not saying that. But he is saying if you do that out of your loneliness, instead of fighting or facing loneliness, emptiness, face to face, you will never be able to get out of loneliness. It becomes a drug, the escape, whatever the drug is. And there are dangerous drugs which people take also. And that becomes their life. And then we call them drug addicts. Their mental balance is upset. And then they become mentally ill. We should not talk too much about that. But that's what's going on. Now, let's look at the next question. Question: is there anything which prevents one from being that truth of which you speak? If one attends a ceremony and enjoys that ceremony for its beauty, as another might be enjoying a fine picture or jewels or anything, and when one takes part in the ceremony for its own sake and not in order to gain power or degrees or anything of that sort. Krishnamurti. So this is a different kind of question. And let's look at the answer. Krishnamurti says, we go through this regularly. If you enjoy ceremonies, enjoy. Why do you want a reason for it? You never ask this question with regard to music. You never say, should I enjoy music or should I enjoy a picture? So why do you say, should I not enjoy ceremonies? My point of view with regard to ceremonies is very simple. I think where there is unrighteousness, there are ceremonies. Sorry, I am not being dogmatic or harsh. To me, ceremonies have no meaning, no significance. They are created by men through fear. We give all kinds of significance to them, that they help, that they are beautiful, that power pours through them, all those things. One goes to those ceremonies in order to get sensationally elevated, sensationally gratified, and we all hope we are getting nearer and nearer truth through those ceremonies, somehow or other, that it will help man to coordinate his body, his ideas, etc. To me, ceremonies act as a drug. They help for a moment to make you forget. So do not compare ceremonies with music, with painting, with beautiful pieces of art. The music art is born not out of fear. It is a natural, spontaneous expression, whereas ceremonies are created through fear, in search for divinity and righteous behavior, to urge people in a certain direction. Please, this is my opinion, and I know that lots of people are feeling uncomfortable to find out if you are a slave to ceremony, because after all one is a slave to a thing when one has not found out its true value, to find out if you are really free to act as a complete human being, discover for yourself the true value of ceremonies. To discover, do not say it's right or it's wrong. Be completely detached from it, and then you will find out whether it has value. But both the ceremonist and the non-ceremonialist are attached, and therefore their discernment is not true. To understand a thing, let it go and then examine it. Let's look at the next question. Does an action necessarily need to express itself in the physical world be complete? For example, if a man hates another one to the point of wanting to hurt him, shall his action be complete only if he hurts or kills him? Or can he free himself and learn in the same way by facing this violent feeling inwardly? So this is a tough question. Let's see what Krishnamurti says. Krishnamurti, why do you want to hurt another? Either because you want something from him and he does not give it to you, and therefore you are annoyed and want to hurt him in return, or he has deprived you of something, or you are jealous. He has taken away something from you, or he has not given you what you want. You are awakened to your own insufficiency, to your own littleness, emptiness, and to run away, to escape from that, you get annoyed. You want to hurt. In hurting, would you consider that a complete action born out of fear, born out of that loneliness? In hurting, would you consider that a complete action born out of fear, born out of that loneliness? To me, it is not a complete action. Is it not simple? I know discussions have been taking place here whether you should go out and kill people, because you have heard me talking about acting completely. What a waste of time. Either you do not understand the significance of my words, or you understand merely the superficial meanings. So wait a minute. You want to hurt another when you are conscious of your own loneliness, when you are forced to face your own emptiness, and you react against the person who forces you to that conscious emptiness. And if you react from that, it is but a reaction. You want to hurt another when you are conscious of your own loneliness, when you are forced to face your own emptiness, and you react against the person who forces you to that conscious emptiness. And if you react from that, it is but a reaction. Whereas, if you find out what is the cause of that loneliness, and free yourself from that cause and then act, in that there is harmony, in that there is completeness. So we have come to the end of the podcast. See, the last few podcasts have focused on complete action vis-a-vis incomplete action, and those who have listened to the prior podcasts know this, that Krishnamurti in these early talks, which people who follow Krishnamurti do not either understand or have not come across. In these early talks, Krishnamurti talks about action as a kind of meditation which becomes complete when the barriers to action are destroyed. These barriers being prejudice, tradition, authority, security, fear, postponement. These become barriers. He has talked about this in detail in his talks in Italy, which were the early podcasts with which I started this series of podcasts, Krishnamurti podcasts with samyogi. And if you are hearing for the first time, this might come as Latin and Greek, but Krishnamurti uses the term infinite action, completeness of life, and a conscious understanding of these barriers one at a time and getting past them, like fear, like insecurity, like your prejudice against, say, the Indian or the American, etc. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.